Welcome back once again to PSSITA Podcast. Once again, if y'all don't know what PSSITA stands for, it stands for Put Some Smoke in the Air. We are here with episode number 7. Episode 7, guys. So, further, I'm going to pass it over to Mike Frazier.
So, guys, once again, we're here for episode 7 of the PSSITA Podcast. Today, we're going to put some smoke in the air with two great individuals in the city of Nashville as far as leadership goes. So, we're going to start off with our guy, Mr. Howard Gentry, and also Mr. Alfred Degranfinried. So, Mr. Howard Gentry is a prominent figure in our community known as his vast contributions to serving the public service and social equity. Currently serving as the criminal court clerk of Davidson County, he has made significant strides in enhancing the efficiency of accessibility of our court system, ensuring justice is within reach for everyone. Howard's impressive journey doesn't stop there. As the first African-American to run for mayor in Nashville, he's paved the way for future leaders in Nashville while highlighting critical community issues. He's also was a former athletic director for the Tennessee State University and also an alumni of Tennessee State University. Also, who was an alumni of Tennessee State University is Mr. Alfred Degranfinried, who is the CEO of Leadership Tennessee. And also they are both members of the Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, the Alpha Theta chapter at Tennessee State University. So, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you, Mr. Howard Gentry, and also Mr. Alfred Degranfinried.
How you doing, Mr. Gentry?
You know, we got to deal with his name first.
Yeah.
Call him Al D.
Al D.
Yeah.
Al D.
It's Degranfinried, and since I'm the oldest guy in the room, I'll do the corrective act.
Okay.
Degranfinried. I can't even say it, and I've known him forever.
That's why I just call him Al D.
Al D. Yeah.
Man, we want to appreciate, really thank you guys for coming on today. And guys, I need for y'all to understand this is a very, very important episode that we're going to be having today. So, hey, everything that these guys are about to say, they're going to be dropping some jewels. Mr. Gentry?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to let you have it,
You want me to take over?
Yeah, I'm going to take over. Yeah, you take over.
Well,
tell me a little bit about yourself.
A little bit about myself.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, born right here. My dad's from Columbus, Ohio. Mama's from Sparta, Georgia. They met at North Carolina A&T on their first job. And 9 months later, they got married, and I'm so glad because they were both engaged to other people when they met. So I'm kind of glad that they broke those engagements off and took a little time to create me.
Okay.
I have a sister named Carol, and she was born in Columbus, Ohio. I'm the only one born in Nashville. My parents moved here in 1949, and I guess history was made then. A lot of people look at our family, and there's a lot of thoughts about our family, We've come a long way, but I'm the son of a football coach and a dance instructor. And my mom was over the majorettes at TSU. My dad coached at TSU, and he was athletics director. And a lot of people say we come from royalty, and I want people to know royalty can come from being a football coach and a dance instructor. You don't have to be draped in gold and wealth to be royal.
Right,
Everybody has royalty in their life. We come from a royal background of Africans who paid the ultimate price for us to be able to be here, and we all live in royalty. But yeah, so I've been here all my life and graduated from Tennessee State, like you said. I'm a public school person, proud Pearl High graduate.
The old Pearl, right?
The old Pearl High, which is MLK now.
Yeah.
And went to Murphy Elementary School. Nobody knows it. A lot of people, y'all remember it as alternative school, but it wasn't alternative then. It was the only alternative we had because it was in segregation, and there were only a few schools that we could go to as African Americans in Nashville. And went to Head Elementary. Went to Washington Junior High, and that's the property that Pearl Cohen sits on right now.
Okay.
And again, Washington Junior High, Wharton, Meigs, Haynes, Cameron, that was it for black kids in Nashville. You had to go to one of those. And then I went to Pearl. And Tennessee State was my landing spot. I went to Florida A&M for 2 years and played football and got hurt came home, and I've spent the rest of my life right here in Nashville. Tennessee State is my life. It's responsible for everything I am. Even those 2 years at Florida A&M, had it not been for my life at TSU, I would not have been able to advance those 2 years the way I did as a football player and as a student. I grew up on a college campus, so being on campus didn't matter whether it was TSU or whatever. If it was HBCU, I could own it because I knew it.
Hey guys, it's Mike Frazier, owner of Reverence Bourbon. Make sure you check us out at reverenceenterprises.com and purchase you a nice bottle of Reverence Bourbon. And also check out our recent merch that we've added. We have hoodies, T-shirts, hats, and also joggers. So check us out at Reverence Enterprises. Get your merch and also purchase your nice bottle of Reverence Bourbon. Pay homage.
And, graduating from Tennessee State was a double jewel because Florida A&M was a place I went that nobody knew me. They hated TSU because it was the biggest rivalry. And that's a whole nother story how I got there, but we won't do that today. It's not a bad story. But the fact is that to go through that experience of nobody knowing me and being able to start and letter my freshman year at a comparable football program coached by Jake Gaither, who coached my dad also, and then coming home and being able to, and I also pledged cap at Florida A&M, and coming home and be able to finish it out at TSU, being a part of that program in other ways, and being a part of Alpha Theta, I was able to get something that probably very few African Americans have gotten in their life, and that's greatness from two institutions, TSU really being the greatest. And today I sit here over 70 years old, and I can say emphatically that TSU is responsible for everything I am today, and it's going to be responsible for everything a lot of other kids are for years to come. And I hope you caught that, for years to come. TSU's not going anywhere. And the fact is that I'm proud.
But I always tell folks a lot, Mr. Gentry, that if you can make it at TSU, you can make it in life.
Make it anywhere in life, and that's still true. And the challenges it's having right now, we're not going to spend this story on this show on the challenges, but I will tell anybody that's listening, the challenges that we're having right now, there's some things that we got to fix, but it was not self-inflicted. We have survived for decades, over 100 years, and survived and educated young people, because at the end of the day, it's only about the students. It's only about the students. And so we'll get through this. We're going to have to change. It's not going to be the TSU it used to be. It shouldn't be. We're not the people we used to be. And we shouldn't be. But it's going to be a better TSU. We will survive again. We've been through, I hate to tell y'all this, but we've been through worse. Somebody asked me a few days ago, what could be worse? Oh, we've been through worse. We've been through worse. A segregated institution is an institution that is put in a box. It's given whatever anybody wants to give them, and then they have to learn how to thrive and survive and be excellent in that box. We're not in a box right now. We're in a bind. And we have more resources to get out of that bind, and one resource is in your pocket. And so if you want to help TSU out, then dig in there and give them some money, and that'll help them out a lot. We haven't done a good job of that.
Especially alumni.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking to the alumni.
Let's be specific.
I look at the numbers. I know the percentage, 7%. We need to do better.
Because it's crazy. We're actually all alumni of Tennessee State University.
Proud.
Now, Mr. Gentry, you got the TSU at what point? What year? What year did you get to TSU?
I came to TSU in 1972.
1972.
Now, the truth is I came to TSU in 1952. That's the year I was born. And I was born in Meharry Hospital, and I lived on campus. So I literally, I grew up at TSU.
Gotcha.
But I came to college in 72. Those twos are working.
Yeah, they two. Yeah.
1972, and I graduated in 1974.
Okay, so LD, of course, you are an alumni at TSU as well. What was your journey to the land of gold and sunshine?
So I'll, just first, before I get started, I want to thank both you, Mike, and Corey, for the invitation. Mentor, Gentry, dream come true.
And I'm gonna get the last name right too next time.
It's Dr. Alfred Degranfinried.
Doctor.
But it's
Doctor.
we can just go by Al D.
Al D.
But
Yeah.
my Tennessee State story actually began before I was born. So my mom is one of 12, and she was the first female to go to college in my family. And she went to Tennessee State and arrived at Tennessee State in 1973. And everyone who basically the majority of my family attended Tennessee State University. And it's a great equalizer. That's what we call education. I can look at all my family members who have college degrees, and I can see how far they've gone and compare to other folks in the family who may have worked in factories and other places and see where it's a disparity between the two. So an argument can be made that education is absolutely paramount to how you go somewhere.
Hey guys, my name is Corey. I'm one half of the Rolling Humidor. If you guys ever need any cigars for your special event, you can reach out to us at www.therollinghumidor.com or on Instagram, The Rolling Humidor.
So my brother, and when I was in third grade, attended Tennessee State in 1993. And I remember that year vividly. That was the first year the Florida Payne Campus Center opened. I remember moving them in to Watson Hall and going to the game room. They had Street Fighter, they had Pac-Man, people down there playing cards and dominoes, and they had a bowling alley. A lot of people don't know it's a bowling alley down there. And at that very moment, I knew that I was going to be at Tennessee State University. So fast forward 6 more years, my sister became a freshman in 1999. Then I came in 2002. And it's absolutely the best decision I've ever made. And I have other degrees from other institutions. Went to law school at IU Indianapolis in Indiana.
Okay.
Take it back to the motherland. Mr. Gentry, don't feel bad talking about Kappa Alpha Psi. I watched Don Harden's show, and he talked about Omega the entire time.
I'm sure he did.
So I want to make sure
he did.
that we talk freely about this. And also just finished my doctorate at Vanderbilt. And I can tell you that I learned just as much as I learned from those 2 institutions that were PWIs. I learned the same thing from Tennessee State University. And even working in different places, people would always ask, how did you get this role? You have a Tennessee State University degree. I said, why would I not have this role? Like, you can't look at us because we have a Tennessee State University degree and then make it seem as if we're not, that we're less than, that we can't accomplish certain things. We have a ton of alums who are doing great work. And I want to say what Mr. Gentry said. Not a lot of us who give at the President's Society level. We stroke a check every single year to Tennessee State University because it's important.
Yeah.
And if we can't do that, I know you ran the foundation, Mr. Gentry, but when you're out there trying to raise money for an institution, the first thing they ask you is what? What percentage does your alumni give? Why should we give to your institution if your alums aren't doing it? So I'm glad that you put that out there, Mr. G. I always encourage my friends, you come back for homecoming, you have a good time, but write a check. Remember where we were as freshmen in Watson Hall, in Boyd Hall, Hale Hall, the new apartments that aren't so new anymore.
Right.
But we still call it the new apartments.
Right.
So that's just a journey that all of us have to go through. And I certainly agree that if you can make it through Tennessee State, you can do anything, move mountains.
So my question for both of you all, given the resumes y'all put out in your journey, I've deduced from that you all are heavy on leadership and impact. Why? What drives you to want to be a leader in the space you're in, and the path you've gone to? Why is it that now you're seen as a leader in the spaces as far as community, the university as a whole? Like, why leadership?
Well, yeah, that's a good why. That's a good why. You also got an MBA from TSU. Don't forget that one. Okay. All right. I just have to throw that one. He started throwing all those degrees out there. He said, well, maybe I'll not say that one too. Yeah. But and I met him before he had a undergrad. So,
Okay.
Yeah. So why leadership?
Yeah.
Well, it's an easy one for me. First, I'm an athlete. And so I've been under leadership ever since I could run up a football field or throw a basketball, which I never figured out how to get it in the hole, but or baseball. So I came up in a family of leaders. My dad was a football coach. My mom dance instructor, always taking a leadership role, just kind of putting it in my culture, so to speak.
Yeah.
Went to First Baptist Church, Capitol Hill. I saw leaders, Kelly Miller Smith, Martin Luther King, Ralph Abernathy, Bernard Lafayette, all of them were in my church.
Yeah.
And I got to see leaders during the civil rights period. John Lewis, all of them. Daniel Walker right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Kwame Lillard. I don't want to leave them out. So I've seen leaders, and I've seen the results of leadership all my life. I grew up in North Nashville. I was a real North Nashville kid.
Yeah.
I lived on the hill above Preston Taylor. I played in Preston Taylor every day.
Yeah.
I was a kid that needed leadership to be able to survive my environment, because my environment was a fun environment for me. And my environment wasn't always an environment that led you down the right path. So I always had to have leadership in my life. I'm not talking about anybody else, but in my life, to be able to keep me in moving in the right direction for the day that my time would come. And that's the way we were raised. One day, things are going to change. One day, it's not going to be segregated. One day, you're going to get opportunities, and you got to be ready when your time comes. Well, my time came. My time has come. I have been able to succeed and be successful in these times because of the leadership that I received. So I need to be the same kind of leader, or better, because they expected better, so that others will benefit from me and that. And so it's a way of life. It's who I am. It's service. I'm a servant and a leader. I'm a servant leader. And that's who I am. That's what I live for every day. And but I was fortunate and blessed enough to see the success and the fruit of leadership as I was growing. And unfortunately, too many of our young people today do not get that opportunity. And not because they keep putting it on the parents and the dads. No, it's because our communities have all the leadership opportunities, or a lot of them have been taken away from our communities, where we don't have the community centers, we don't have the football and baseball leagues, and we don't have the organizations that we used to have to attract young people to them so that they can be led external of their families. Because my biggest influences came outside of my family, not inside of my family. And so that's my role. That's what I accept. I got scars from it, but I have more glory from it than scars.
Yeah. And I remember we was talking offline that you, Dr. Al D, worked with under Howard Gentry in the criminal court office. Tell us about that.
Well, before I get to that, I want to just take an opportunity to kind of, talk about the root and the branch.
Okay.
So we heard about Mr. Gentry's story. I know a lot about his family, his lineage and all that. Just a public servant, if you ever seen one, and one who cares about family. A lot of times you see leaders and they're doing everything, but his priority has always been, I'm taking care of my family. I'm going to continue to be a leader, but my family's important. So that's one pillar that I want to just bring out. But when I was a student at TSU, this was Harold Ford Jr. was running for the U.S. Senate. I was on student government, one of the student leaders, and Jared Maynard came into our student government office and said, hey, we need some help turning out votes. And I'm like, all right, well, what does that look like? He said, well, we just want you to get students to go to the polls. And I said, all right, we'll do it. Somebody made the motion. We passed it, and we said we're going to do something to get people to go vote. Being from Memphis, we wanted to see Harold Ford win that race. And around that time, I was introduced by Clinton Gray, Mr. Gray, to Mr. Gentry. Mr. Gray stopped me at Citizens Bank where I was working. He said, son, what do you want to be? What do you want to do? Certainly you don't want to be at this bank for the rest of your life. I said, well, I really don't know, but I'm really interested in politics. And he said, I want you to meet my best friend, Howard Gentry. He said, call this number right here. And you know where I'm going. Call this number. I called the number 5, 15, 50, 11 times. And finally he answered. And I was excited about it. Got my interview, and let me tell you what a guy out of North Memphis almost did. I almost messed up my opportunity because I walked in the interview and I said, well, Mr. Gentry, thanks for, finally answering my phone call. I called you like 50 times. I'm trying to, he said, whoa. He said, what we're not going to do is I'm not going to allow you to come into my office and tell me that you called me 50 times. Are you sitting here for an interview? I said, yes, sir. He said, well, we're going to have an interview. He said, we're not going to do that. And I said, this guy a little crazy, but I like him. That's exactly what I needed. But that's how our relationship started on that first campaign. And you're talking about a master class in politics. You can't get this anywhere else. One of the things that Mr. Gentry said to me that has changed my entire life was that day when he said, let me tell you something. I'm running for office, and there's no way that I'm going to run if I don't have a student from Tennessee State, Fisk University, or American Baptist College on my campaign. That's leadership.
Yeah.
And put me in a position where I was being stretched, and I really didn't like the position I was in, but it's one of those things where you don't know what you're good at until you try it.
Yeah.
But what he taught me and the training that he gave me 20 plus years ago, I use every single day. I wouldn't be doing any of this work in Leadership Tennessee. I wouldn't have been doing any of this work at Vanderbilt or in the clerk's office without getting that experience that I got from him. The people I met said, hey, man, you ought to consider going to law school. I ain't thinking about going to law school. Well, if I were in your position working on campaigns, I'd go. Mr. Gentry said, hey, you want to go to law school? Then let's get you some letters. Others wrote letters. I got in. I graduated. Guess who was at my graduation? At my graduation, you remember who I quoted? You might not remember, but it was Dr. James A. Hefner.
Oh, yes, you did.
I said, every morning in Africa.
About the morning in Africa. Yes, you did.
I gave the whole, every morning in Africa, a cheetah wakes up and he knows he has to outrun the slowest gazelle. Y'all know the story,
yeah.
but I'll just, since everybody doesn't know it, it's an African proverb. He said, also every morning in Africa, a gazelle wakes up. He knows that he has to outrun the slowest cheetah. It doesn't matter whether you're the cheetah or the gazelle. When you wake up, you better be running.
Better be running.
And those are stories that we got to hear from leadership at Tennessee State, and we believe that. We were Hefner kids. All of us who were there. I don't know, maybe you weren't a Hefner kid.
I wasn't a Hefner kid.
You might have been a Johnson kid, but I know a lot of us were Hefner kids.
Yes.
But to get that, to see that leadership, to watch, and this is so interesting, how everything's full circle. I remember being in Watson Hall. Whenever you cut the TV on, it automatically go to Channel 3. That's how it used to be. And I would see this man on TV all the time, sitting in the council chamber. I'm like, who in the world is this guy? I'm looking at the rest of the council. I'm like, he looked different than the rest of them. It's not many people in the Metro Council of color.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, it was him who was the first vice mayor of Nashville, who, because of leadership, because even the people told him, you'll never win this thing. Guess what he wanted? When you're around people who can see things and they know, and look, come from a good background, a good family, just like I did. My family told me you can do anything you want to do if you work hard. I know all of us got this same lesson, but it's a disconnect to what's going on with this younger generation. That's why we have to be involved and make sure we go out and mentor these young kids, because I grew up in North Memphis, 38127, which is the 7th or 8th poorest zip code in the state today, with a median household income of $24,000 today. But my parents said, you may be from this area, but you're not going to be defined by this area or your zip code. I don't care what those other folks doing. You're not going to do it. You're going to be somebody. And I look at all the folks who are not here, incarcerated, dead, have a lot of kids, still working at McDonald's. Yeah. That could have been me. But I had people, in all phases of life, K-12, in the church, getting to college, meeting folks like Mr. Gentry and others, and just continuing to have those mentors. And Mr. Gentry's still a part of my personal board of directors. I don't make decisions without calling Mr. Gentry. Yeah. He's probably like, man, why you calling me, man? Hey, Mr. Gentry, I got this opportunity. What do you think about it? And he's always going to be honest with me and give it to me. All of us need a mentor like that.
Exactly. I see that, because mentorship is very important in growth. And like to see it right now, Mr. Gentry and Dr. Al-D, like we can see that synergy. Going forward, what do y'all think needs to happen to groom the next group of leaders behind you two guys?
You want me to take it or you got it? Go ahead, Mr. G. Sorry, he looked at me.
I was just waiting to see. You talk a little bit more than you used to when you were young. You would look at me and make sure you weren't talking too much. Now you just go on. It's Dr. LD now,
Hey,
right?
Dr. Alfred.
I mean, because honestly, to add on to the question, like in the time we're in right now, with what's going on with the university, leadership is very, very important now. So that's why I asked, like, what does that concept look like now with the next group that we have to groom?
I don't think it ever changes.
Okay.
What happens is the challenges change, but the process of leadership never changes.
Okay.
If anything today, and it's because of more social media, more podcasts, and what have you, we have more information,
Yeah.
we have more exposure, but it also can create more distractions.
Right.
But we need to change that and not let the conversation be a distraction. It's just more information.
Yeah.
And you've got to process more now. So the fact is, my dad said the way to raise kids properly, you got to stay out in front of them. He said, he told me, son, I could beat you into submission every day. But my job is to be smarter than you as a child and as a kid. Use my experience, not be smarter like make me feel like I'm dumb, but use my experience, my past, my history, everything I've learned to help to bring you through. So right now we got more information. Kids have more information. They're smarter. They're really more informed. I don't know if they're any smarter. They're more informed. So we got to be more informed. We've got to take every problem, every challenge that we have and minimize the rhetoric and still deal with the growth of young people. So you talk about TSU. They say TSU's broke. TSU's getting ready to close. They're getting ready to sell the downtown campus. They're getting ready to do this. They're getting ready to do that. The only reason you're saying that is because somebody told you that. Yeah. You don't really know. You haven't looked in the books. You don't even know what kind of broke we are. We might be that building, which I know we are, that looks like it's dilapidated on the outside, but when you walk in, it's made of steel and concrete, and all you got to do is fix the outside.
Right.
And the concrete and steel is still there. But we don't know that. But we have to understand that we're dealing with a population that doesn't really know and understand. So you got to keep training them. You've got to keep teaching them, but you have to lead them in your knowing.
Yeah.
In other words, if I know the building is not getting ready to crumble, then I'm going to lead you like the building's going to stand. You're not going to believe me when I first tell you because you didn't get to go in and see it. So I have to lead you in like a person that knows it's going to be okay. Like my parents during the civil rights movement, when I was going to school and we had third-hand books. I remember my classroom book, history book, had the cover torn off. It had Hillsborough written in it and other than that. I came home talking about my book was all torn up and what have you. And my mama told me that book might be tattered and torn, but it's got the same words in it that those kids over at Hillsborough, it was Hillwood are reading. You need to learn what's in that book and prepare yourself for your time because times are going to change, things are going to be different, and you've got to be prepared. So in other words, forget the torn, the tattered, and be focused on reading those books. Had she not said it to me, I would have been focused on the no cover, on the handwriting in the books of other kids, and not focus on what those words said inside that book. And that's what we got to do right now. We got to still go recruit young students who can graduate. We got to keep teaching them. We got to keep moving them forward as though these things that are happening to them, it could be poverty. It could be homelessness. We've got to keep working with these young people as though this is just a point in time. It is not their future, and lead them through this. It's not easy. They're not going to be able to just believe you and accept it, but we have to be relentless. We got to be unconditionally committed to moving people forward. And if we do that, again, I'm giving too many examples. That's what they do in war. The bullets are whizzing all over the place, bombs in the ground and everything, but what they keep forging forward, and eventually you get to your target and you win. Yeah. And that's just the way we got to do it. And I'm probably simplifying it too much, but you know what? At the end of the day, you got to boil it down to victory.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Gentry.
Yes.
Since we're on the topic of TSU, tell me how the name got on the building, the Gentry Center.
Gentry Center?
Yes, sir.
Well, it's named after my dad. I just happened to be junior, and now I'm the same age he was when he passed. And so I guess that picture up there actually looks like me because I'm actually, well, not there, but in Gentry,
yeah.
Looks like me because I'm older than he was when they painted the picture. But my dad came to TSU. He caught the vision of Dr. Walter S. Davis. Dr. Davis told my dad he wanted to come to TSU. He wanted to see TSU create All-Americans, not just black All-Americans. He wanted TSU to play not just for the black national championship, for the national championship. This is 1949 now. He wanted to see TSU play in front of 50,000 people, white and black. My dad came back to Ohio and told my mom, that fool's crazy. I'm not coming down there. He's going to get us all lynched. I mean, he said that. But he went, and he caught the vision. And my dad was able to be a part of a movement that nobody's ever been able to be a part of at TSU. Those are the golden years. Though, and while he was there, the Tiger Bells were winning Olympics. They were winning gold medals. That's the best in the world. The basketball team won 3 NAIA championships. That is a national championship against white teams, 3 in a row. Football team was winning like crazy. Everybody was winning. He hired John Merritt, and John Merritt is the winningest coach in the history of TSU, over 120, 30 players in the NFL. First pick in the draft. Remember what Dr. Davis said?
Yes.
The number 1 pick in the draft, and that year the number 3 pick went to TSU also. So my dad was able to coach during those years and then be the athletics director during those years. And so he led a program that was ultra successful, both nationally, internationally, worldwide. And Dr. Humphreys felt that the man that led that should have his name on the building. And in 1980, they named the building after my dad. Stevie Wonder and Al Jarreau performed in the concert the weekend they named Gentry Center. We beat Austin Peay. I still got the basketball at home. And Tennessee State can have it when they're ready for it. And yeah, it was a proud day, and I'm still proud today to be able to walk in that center named after my dad, and hopefully I have been able to continue his legacy in ways that would make him proud.
I told you guys, we dropping jewels today. Dropping jewels.
Or can I add something? I can say, I'm just going to drop a jewel and say that Mr. Gentry, you are also a trailblazer, just like your father. I read his book that your mom wrote about his history and that nature. But just to pivot for a second to talk about the work you've done as criminal court clerk and how you've gone into the community and said, all right, we see an issue with people who have issues on their record. They have a record, and it's a right for them to have those records expunged. And Mr. Gentry had the foresight to say, we have people coming to the courthouse every single day. They have to take off work. They have to go through magnetometers. You know, a lot of things go on. He said, how about we go into the community, set up shop, and let them come to us on the weekend or during the week after night so they can process those things. When I was Mr. Gentry's chief clerk, and I can only speak to those times, I know you've continued to elevate the office, but was the AOC director said, #1 clerk's office in the state, hands down. We went and presented in Knoxville one time about that same Bringing Justice to You initiative that you started. I mean, lives are being changed. People getting their voting rights restored. I mean, this never happened before in the criminal court clerk's office. But you pioneered that. And when I was there, you were expunging $35,000 a year. So like, I know you said you hope that you can get there, but your service as council member at large, the first one elected in Nashville, first African-American vice mayor, criminal court clerk. I mean, that's something that, you can rest on those laurels too, Mr. Gentry. And, one thing I'll say just about me from this experience, I was sitting in the congressional office right down the street in the library one day when he called me. He said, "You know what?" He said, I have an idea. I want you to come and work with me and come in the criminal court clerk's office. He said, "You interested?" I said, "I'm interested in criminal justice reform." He said, "That's exactly what we're doing." He was serving on a national board, court administration, court management. I saw all the work they were doing nationally. He's adding value. He even helped me get elected to the board when he stepped down. I mean, the things that are happening right here in the capital city, sometimes it goes unnoticed, but I want to give you your flowers today just for your leadership and how you're changing lives throughout the entire county.
I was actually going to say that right after he got done. I want to actually give both you guys your flowers for all the great work that you're doing in the community.
For sure. Dr. Al-D.
Yes, sir.
You are the CEO of Leadership Tennessee. What does that actually entail, if you could talk about it?
Well, Leadership Tennessee is a unique organization, and I always tell people the reason why I'm able to do this job as well as I think I can is because I've been a court administrator.
Okay.
When you have to work with judges, 17 to be exact, on a daily basis, you really you earn that money because judges can be a little difficult from time to time. Of course, they're all good people, but they have very important jobs. But Leadership Tennessee is kind of it's an organization that's geared. It was founded in 2013, and all of our founders are still alive, which is different than our fraternities and other organizations we're part of. But we select individuals who are leaders across the entire state. So it's not based on the grand divisions because it's 3 grand divisions, but we do it based off utility districts. So it's like 9 different districts. And we go out, we get people nominated, they apply, get over 500 applications, and we narrow it down to 48 for our signature program, and it's all about state impact. And the main goal of Leadership Tennessee is to get leaders in the room who would never know one another outside of Leadership Tennessee. And it's not that we're pushing an agenda because we don't. The classes decide what they want to focus on. So if it's literacy, we get to Memphis, we may want to go somewhere and focus on literacy or work with the Governor's Early Literacy Foundation. We talk about transit referendum that just passed. I'm sure when we come in January, we'll have a talk on the East Bank. We'll talk about transit. We may talk about what's going on in the criminal justice system. So it gives you an opportunity to share ideas because invariably what happens is somebody from Memphis like us will say, we have an issue we're dealing with. And then somebody from Tri-City is going to say, we dealt with the same issue 20 years ago, and this is how we got past it. So it gives you an opportunity to share ideas and make the state better. And that's an oversimplification. We also have a LT Next class, which is for the mid-career leaders, 25 to 45-year-old who are going to be the next leaders across the state. And they get a condensed version of that, but they get to learn about different areas of the state. And it's a 24-hour immersive experience. They get to sleep for 8 hours. I make them wake up early. They get mad at me, but I tell them just like this. I say, look, leaders wake up early. Leaders stay up late. If you have employees, they have to be at work on time. If I say that bus leave at 7 a.m. and you're not on the bus, you're going to get left, or you're going to catch an Uber. So, I mean, it's really a good organization. And you can just about name most of the leaders from various parts of the state who have time for it have done it. I've tried to encourage other leaders to apply for it, Mr. Gentry, but he just, I don't know if he has the time to do it because he's so busy improving Nashville with the work he does every day.
Ooh.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, man, because it seems to me that you're grooming leaders as a leader. And a lot of people don't know how much it takes to groom people to, be the best version of themselves, because a lot of people, they get in the comfort zone. And this is one of my favorite stories is the mind is created to keep you comfortable. So when you said that leaders wake up first to wake up, last to be up, you fighting a lot of mental adversity within yourself to like, I got to set this example, because it may be days you don't want to get up there early, but the fact I got to be this leader, I have to get up. So I commend that for you, you know what I'm saying? That's
Appreciate
very motivating, because I'm going to apply this to my own business. I'm a Tennessee State grad. I have a master's. I have accolades myself, but the biggest tool I got from TSU was networking, because I'm an entrepreneur. And the biggest thing to get is to network. And when you're networking with leaders, you become a better leader. So iron sharpens iron.
Right. But can I say one thing, though, just to make sure this is clear about Leadership Tennessee?
Yeah.
It's not that we're training people how to be better leaders on the signature program. They're already leaders. Now, everybody can become a better leader, but it's really about, because, I mean, if I look around the room, typically I'm having thoughts like, man, this person is doing this person is doing that. How are they listening to me? I'm not trying to teach them how to be a better leader, but I am trying to teach them about what leadership looks like in areas in the state that really needs it, and how can we plug in to improve those metrics. And that's what it's about. Now, on the LT Next program, we embed leadership principles in there, but on the signature one, it's basically
practical.
We're going to get together in a room and we're going to look at the toughest issues impacting the state, and then we're going to figure out what can be done about it.
Let me ask this question. If someone's watching the episode today, how can they get more involved?
Well, they can visit our website, www.leadershiptennessee.org, and they can learn about it, can nominate people. We run 2 tracks on our mid-career program. It's 4 months, twice a year, and our signature program runs from August to June. Just get applications in, or get nominated by March 15th, and then a secret selection committee comes in and looks at all the names, and then they invite about 270 to apply. Then they call that list down to 48. But we do community engagement events with other non-members of Leadership Tennessee, and we engage our alumni as well. Like, for instance, with the recent hurricane in Northeast Tennessee, I had the foresight with my colleague to say, we're going to create a disaster response committee, because everybody knows that, like, it's kind of like when someone dies in your family, right? Everybody calls you immediately as soon as they die. Then after the funeral, you'll hear from people for about a week. Then you stop getting those calls. And that's what happens with disaster response. You stop getting those calls after 2 or 3 weeks. So we said, look, when things slow down and you figure out what you need and what you don't need, then call us and we'll try to get our leadership members together to see if we can invest in the community and help rebuild it. So it's really just like a think tank. How can we improve our state? And that's what I would encourage people to reach out to our website.
All right, Mr. Gentry, if someone needs your service, where can they reach out to?
Well, first, of course, you can reach out to our office, the Criminal Court Clerk's office in the A.A. Birch building on 2nd Avenue, and I always come prepared because I don't want to make a mistake here. But we are on 402 2nd Avenue. You would think if I go in there every day, I would know at least the number of my office. But the fact is that I want to give you that information. It's Suite 2120. And, of course, if you need to call us, the number is 862. Let me give you my number, 862-5611. Let me tell you why I'm going to give you my number. My assistant is going to get real mad at me, but I do it all the time, so she's still with me, and she can stay mad. Because I know that there are a lot of you out here who are listening, and you don't have to be people who are struggling, but they're real smart people, real people, people who have got a lot of education, like sitting around in this room right here, that don't know some things that they probably need to know. Like, if you get a ticket from Metro for speeding, that blue and white car, the white car, you can go pay your ticket, blah, blah, blah. Did you know if you get a ticket from a state trooper in the brown striped car, that it's Class C, misdemeanor, and it goes on your record, criminal record.
Know that.
Yeah, you have to get it expunged. See, it's things like that that we got to make people know. Did you know that if you go to court and your case is dismissed, or you go to court and your case is nollied, or you go to court and you really didn't do it and the person admits that you didn't do it and you get to leave, do you know that that still stays on your record until you get it expunged if you got arrested for it? Those are the kind of things that you don't find out. So we provide that opportunity for you to come to our office and get that done. Get your driver's license reinstated. Get your voting rights reinstated. All that happens in my office. But we don't just do it in our office. We also have expungement clinics all over the city of Nashville, and we advertise them on the radio. You can come. We just did safe surrender. We broke a record, Alfred.
Here,
Alfred. We broke a record. In 2 days, we did almost 700 expungements.
that's remarkable.
In 2 days, almost 700 expungements. That's crazy. We dealt with almost 500 people and waived over $500,000 in fees and fines in 2 days, along with the public defender, the DA, the police department, the judges, the sheriff's department, the circuit court clerk, juvenile court clerk. We were all there, but we were able to do that in 2 days. But we do it at Magruder Center with Rachel Bell once a quarter. We do it in churches. Matter of fact, I think by February, maybe March, we will have hit the 100th expungement clinic.
Wow.
That we've done in the last 10 years. And so we're averaging, your average was a lot more. One day I hope we have an expungement clinic and nobody comes. That means they don't need our services anymore. That they find out in the courtrooms, they find out from their attorneys, the judges, they do the expungements right there on the spot. Or maybe, well, anyway, I won't go there. But, or maybe not charging them with things that they don't need to be charged for.
Yeah.
I am going to go there. But the fact is that we're still averaging 25,000 or more. And so when you're thinking about expungement, that is also, a lot of people don't know the definition, it's getting your record cleaned up. And people just don't know that if you walk in that courtroom, if you're charged with anything, you need to come see us after it's over because you're going to need to get that record expunged. So my office gets the blessing, the opportunity to change people's lives every year by the tens of thousands. Can you imagine coming to work every day being able to absolutely change somebody's life when you come to work? Because once that record is gone, you can get a good job. You can get housing. You can get educated. You can get so much from that record being gone. And people just don't know it. So that's our mission. And yes, on that second floor, but listen to your radio, look at your phones because we do texting, we do social media. And if you need those services, we have them right there. And if there's anybody who needs their record expunged right now, call me. 862-615-862-5611, and we will get it started right here.
Mr. Gentry, let me add one thing to that because people may not know this, but I want to just show this in scale. If you look at the 95 counties in Tennessee, I can guarantee you there's not another county that's expunging the amount of records or getting anywhere close to the amount of records that they're doing here in Davidson County because of your leadership.
Well, we are robust, and we are doing what most people are not doing around the whole country. So just think, so far this year, on recorded right now, we've expunged 23,000 records. Now, the truth is that number will probably jump to 30-something because there's some categories that are not reported yet. But if we're doing 30 and somebody else is doing 200, there's a problem. And if the need is that great in one city, one county. Just think about the world, the nation. How many people are struggling and being really oppressed because they're not able or don't know that they can have this is a right. The law says if your record is dismissed or nollied or whatever category that you fall in, you shall have your record expunged. It doesn't say you can, it says you shall. But nobody is taking that shall literally and making sure that that happens. And so people are living in a place right now that it's almost criminal how we are failing to really inform the public of this right that is a shall right, is an absolute right that you have, and we're not providing that opportunity.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, man, we definitely appreciate y'all's time. A lot of gems, a lot of knowledge, a lot of insight, a lot of also foresight you've given the audience and me myself. And we definitely appreciate y'all. What you got, Corey?
Hey, I told you at the beginning we're gonna have a lot of jewels that were gonna be dropped.
Yeah.
But I'm Corey, one half of the Rolling Humidor.
Now I'm Mike Frazier, the owner of Reverence Enterprises, founder of Reverence Bourbon. And this is the PSSITA Podcast, episode 7. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. We're on YouTube and Instagram at PSSITA_podcast. You can also get Reverence Bourbon at reverenceenterprises.com and also follow the Rolling Humidor at the Rolling Humidor on Instagram. So,
and also the rollinghumidor.com.
There it is.
Till next time, put some smoke in the air.
We
Peace.
out.